Just enjoying that music. Hello and welcome to our Friday live stream. My name is Dale Davies and I am the digital marketing manager for Exposure Ninja. Today I'm broadcasting live on my own. All our ninjas are super busy and I'm going to be talking to you about 53 ways you can earn backlinks for your website. If you're new here, do hit like down below, whether you're watching this on YouTube, on Twitter, even LinkedIn, Facebook. It really helps us to have this video reach more people and help more business owners and marketing managers like yourself. And as I said, today we're going to be doing 53 ways to, here we go, let's get that sorted, 53 ways to earn backlinks. So we have very little time, we have an hour, we have 50 different ways, that's about a minute or so per method. So we're going to get straight into business. So if you have any questions, you can leave those to the end. I'm going to be giving away a free copy of this book, How to Get to the Top of Google, at the very end of the stream. But to get one, you'll have to use the hashtag ask with your question. So use the hashtag ask and I'll use a generator at the end to just pick a name from anybody who's left a comment today. Let's get cracking. Here we go. So number one, the first thing you could do to earn requests is to do journal requests. So journal requests are basically something that happens on Twitter. A journalist or somebody doing some content creation will you use the hashtag journal request in their tweet, saying, I'm looking to speak to some business owner or somebody, a thought leader about this subject. And they will then wait for responses and then pick one of those responses to then include in their content. So I got some examples here. So this is an example of, I believe it's maybe another agency or journalist are basically looking for somebody looking about sustainable holiday ideas for a roundup. So they're looking for travel agents or airline companies or travel guides to reply and say, oh, okay, I've got something for you to add into your content. And then you see this happen a lot. So this is another one. So that's keeping with sustainability. People are looking for somebody to talk about sustainable sustainable produce, where it comes from, fair trade, stuff like that. And the hashtag is used again. So we've got journal requests at the bottom there. More staying with sustainability, I believe this one is as well. Oh, sorry, this is an industry-specific one. So this is about industry experts, about architecture, construction, and engineering. So if your business is in any of those sectors and you feel that you can comment on sustainable, eco-friendly solutions about new home builds, you can drop into this. And who knows where that's going to end up. That could end up in an industry publisher, or that could end up, in any relevant to your industry website. There's another example here as well. So looking for sustainable packaging experts. So we have a packaging client as one of our clients. This is a fantastic opportunity for them, and talking about sustainable materials that could be used. So these happen all the time, every day. Just keep tracking Twitter, search for the hashtag and the industry you work in, or the name of something that you sell, whether that's through you're an e-commerce or service. There's always going to be something that pops up, maybe not on a daily basis, but fairly regularly if you keep a lookout for things. And the good thing is that people, journalists from The Independent, pretty much all the bigger names where you would like your brand to be seen, they use journal requests as well. So the next thing is affiliate linking. So this is an example of Casper. So Casper is a mattress company in the US, which was in the UK until fairly recently. Let's get rid of this thing. Go away. Made that disappear. And they've made a huge name from doing delivery mattresses. And one of the ways that they've done that is through affiliate linking. So affiliate linking is basically making sure that people mention your brand within their reviews or doing reviews and stuff like that. And the idea is that you pay them a fee based on how many people they send through to your to their website. So you see in this content they have a couple of links here that have been underlined. There's how much for a queen mattress, and so on. And those links look like this. So it's casper.com/mattresses. It's going directly to a specific product page or you could link it to a category page instead. It really depends on what it is that you're trying to sell. That could, it's not specifically for products. It can be services, anything. SaaS companies, for example, use a lot of affiliate sales, especially in the early stages where they're a startup and they need those first couple of links to start coming through. And then those links have then got to make sure who's sending you traffic and who you should be paying. You can, you basically behind this link is all this junk, which looks ugly, but basically is telling your analytics program, this is the website that this traffic came through. So you can then look through and say, okay, we've had 25 hits from this website today. We should be paying them £100 or whatever it is that the rate that you've agreed with them. So that's a good way of getting links without really having to do too much. You can create an affiliate program and broadcast that and make sure people are aware of it. How effective are link companies? That question, don't forget, if you want to hashtag that, basically if you want to have any questions about any of this, just use the hashtag ask. So let's just add that at the bottom of the banner at the bottom here. Where is it? If you have questions, let me just edit it. Use the hashtag ask, and here we go. Show. There you go. Use the hashtag ask, and at the end of the live stream, I'll pick one person who used that hashtag with their question to win a copy of How to Get to the Top of Google. So yeah, just save your questions to the end, and I'll try and get through as many as I can, because we're 7 minutes in, and I've only done, I think, 2 ways to build links. Cool. So we've got affiliates. That's one way. Another way is awards. So the way that this is a free way is that there are some free awards that you can join, but a lot of the good ones are obviously paid. You can, if you're already planning to do awards, then what you can do is use this as free link building method, is to basically promote as much as possible the fact that you've won these awards. So, for example, if you were to win an industry award, of which there are many, so I've got loads here. Here we go. So there's loads and loads of different types of awards, industry-based, or the ones that are broad, such as like customer service. There's always something you can enter yourself for them. You may have already budgeted for some of these awards, but then go out and tell as many people as possible that you've won it. So you can do like press releases, things like that. Maybe not press releases because they could kind of get broadcast into the void, but you can reach out to your industry-specific publisher and say, oh, our company won this award. Would you like to do a piece about it? Or, especially if you consider that some of the industry online magazines, they are constantly looking for content. They've got like an editorial calendar to fill. If you tell them, oh, here's a story about our business winning our first ever award or winning it 3 years in a row, you can promote that a lot and get published in a lot of places. Cool. Then awards, you can create your own as well. So this is something that I experienced when I was a travel blogger. So basically companies, when they were trying to make their start, when they're doing their first link building campaigns, they need links. They haven't really got money to pay for like big editorials in publishers. What they can do is create their own. So you could do an award for your industry. So this will happen in the travel blogging world, and you've got like bigger names like Flight Centre, Hostel Bookers, Lonely Planet, Viewleo. Is that how you say that, Viewleo? I know I did a bunch like booking.com years and years and years ago when they were trying to get their businesses known, trying to earn links. And this happens, it's not like the best link building you could ever do, but if you're looking for something that doesn't cost you a lot, costs you more of your time and your effort than it does financially, then this is a good way of doing it, is creating your own awards. Best ofs and top 10. So another good thing is to actually create content that people want to link to. So if you create content and then show it to other people and say like, oh, maybe this would be something your readers would like, could you link to it? This is a good piece of style of content in which to start with. So you can do like a top 10 of your products or services and include yours within it. And so this is an example of a travel backpacks. This website's got like 80 different websites linking to this specific page. So they've gone out there and they've promoted it and asked other publishers, do you mind linking to my piece? Because I think it's really useful for other travelers who are going to pick up their backpack for the first time. And it doesn't really cost you that much. It just costs you your time. So, you have to go out there and be emailing people, and the response rate can be low. The actual like turnaround to publishing can be low. but it costs you less than paying for editorials or basically any kind of like high value, like getting published in an independent could be an expensive thing to do. So this is could be a cheaper way of doing it. Then there's blogger outreach as well. So this is an example of a company that's done blogger outreach. They sell, I believe it's like vegan, gluten-free cakes, stuff like that, fruit delivery. And what they've done is they've sent their product out to people like bloggers and said, would you mind reviewing the content, reviewing our product, writing a little something about it on your website? And that's it. You just earn links that way. And that costs you very little, just costs you, the product you were sending to them. So a little bit of postage and packaging. The actual links themselves cost you nothing. It just takes a bit of organization. That's it. Very, very quick and simple to do. And you can be really specific about your audience as well. So you can have, if you are selling vegan products, you can speak directly to vegan bloggers. If you sell a fitness product, you can speak directly to fitness bloggers, because their audience is specific and knows exactly what it is they like. Next up, we have a browser extension. So this is actually pretty smart. So I see a couple of companies do this, and this is an SEO example because that's my background, SEO. That's one. The first one that came to mind was, if you've got somebody techie on your side who knows how to do these things, because if you've got a developer hanging around or a developer friend, they can just do it, create the browser extension, and then you can just do the promotion of that. And the promotion is free. You just go and tell people this thing exists and that they can try it, test it, get their opinion on it, and people will share it. And eventually, over time, those things will start to be built. Brand mentions is a great one. So if your business is getting mentioned already, so perhaps your business hasn't done a lot digitally, like you haven't been building up your website, you haven't been building links before, but you've been mentioned before because you're known in your industry, you can go out there and just claim those mentions. And ask the publisher, can you turn that into a link rather than just the name itself? And there are tools in which you could do that. So this one called Brand Mentions is paid, but they have like a free trial. So if you wanted to give it a try and get some free links to begin with, what you can do is sign up, give it a try, claim as many brand mentions as you can, and then let it expire. Or there are some kind of workarounds you can do with Google Alerts, which I'm going to get onto a little bit later. Okay, next up we have charts and graphs. So as a content writer myself, I'm always looking for something to back up something I'm saying. So I'll be writing a piece of content about, well, for me, it's digital marketing, but you might be writing about packaging, you might be writing about human resources, something like that. You want to make your blog posts as in-depth and visually exciting as possible so that people stick around. Because if your blog posts are just text, people will just scan it and get out of there. But if you break it up with charts and graphs to back up what you're saying, it's super helpful. So if you want other people linking to you, what you can do is make sure that you have the graphs and charts on your website by taking the data you might already have from your CRM or something like that, and just write a blog post on your website. Again, that costs nothing to do. Create the graphs. You can do those for free on Canva. Drop them in there and just make sure that people are aware of it, either by reaching out to them or by people finding it through doing their own Google searches and then coming onto your website. Then we have community forums. This is becoming more of a popular one. So your business, depending on your industry, might be able to create a community forum or a Facebook group or a Slack community or something like that, in which people can basically get support from other people in the industry, whether that's peer support or, how do I have this issue with logistics I'm having a little difficulty with. Does anybody else experience that? That community and just building something up, people, once they get used to it and they gain something from it, are more likely to link to it as well. There's an example here that's by Demand Curve, which is a US marketing company. They created a Slack community for people to just come in and talk about content marketing, SEO, B2B, D2C, e-commerce, you name it, like growth strategies, stuff like that. So if you feel that there's a lack of a community in your industry, this is one way in which you can own that, and people, if they enjoy it, will freely link to it by a little persuasion. Oh, did you enjoy the community this week in a follow-up email? Would you mind sharing it with at least one person, and go from there. Another thing you can do for free is just replace existing competitor links. So there's a whole bunch of tools you can use. This is Majestic, and it's a specific tool called Click Hunter. So Click Hunter lets you compare the links between like a handful of different websites. So you pop yours in, pop in your competitors, and it has a look and says, right, these websites link to your competitors, but not to you, or they link to you and a whole bunch of people, but not to this one person. So you can look through and see, okay, we're not getting links by these websites. Let's gain a link from there. So you can just replicate what's already there by just seeing what the content is about, doing something similar, but more importantly, doing something that's better. And the other way of doing competitor links is find and replace. So what you can do is you can find your competitors' links and then go in there and just replace them with something better. So in our example, I write SEO content or digital marketing content. I want to go out there and replace, I don't know, another SEO company's link to a guide to writing perfect metadata, for example. So I want to go in there and replace it. A little bit cheeky, I suppose, but the way I kind of prefer to do it is to go in there and look for lost backlinks. So most link tracking tools, like backlink checking tools like Majestic, or we use SE ranking, and there's also SEMrush as well. You can go and see where these links have been lost. So they've been removed or deleted, or they just go missing. You can go in there and just reclaim those. So go into the backlog list and see, okay, this website isn't linking here anymore. Let's go have a look why. Could we replace that missing link with our link to our content instead? And here's an example. So this is Vegware, which is a competitor of one of our clients. And we can look through their backlinks and see which websites are no longer linking or are linking that we can replicate. And as I said, this is from SE Ranking, which you can use for free for, I think, 28 days using the link at the bottom there. So just go to bestninjatool.com and you'll be able to check it out for free. And here's an example of that lost referring domain. So it just tracks in the last 12 months how many domains are no longer linking to this website. You can go through and see, are any of these actually worth it or not? Then there's competitor mentions. So this is what I was talking about before with brand mentions. You can use Google Alerts to track the web for mentions of your brand. So in our example here, we're tracking our competitors who are Vegware, Biopack, and Catering24. See where they're mentioned on the web, and then go out there and do exactly the same thing. So you can either replicate their content or make sure that you're mentioned as well. So for example, if you find a piece that's been published in the packaging industry website, they say, oh, this is what these packaging companies are doing this year to be more sustainable, and they're not mentioning you, you can email that writer and say, hey, we also do takeaway packaging as well, sustainable takeaway packaging as well. Could you mention us too? Then we have a content hub. So this is becoming more and more common where a business writes a content hub about a specific subject they know a lot about. So here's an example of Yotpo, which is a e-commerce software company in the US. And what they've done is they've written long content, multi-layered content, like a book about how to do a specific thing. So in this case, it's direct-to-consumer marketing, and there's loads of content in there, lots of useful, actionable insights, and that costs you obviously time and resources to put together. So you have to have a writer writing that. You maybe have to have a developer on board as well, but depending on your platform, you might be able to just write and publish. But promoting that costs you nothing. So you can write that, publish it, and go out there and just start telling people, oh, have you seen this thing that we released? Would you mind mentioning it in your blog post? Would you mind mentioning it in your newsletter? Would you mind, all these kind of things? And you start to earn backlinks that way. And at this point, I'm going to have a drink because my mouth is quenched. Right. If you're learning something so far, do make sure to hit like down below. And if you do have a question, just use #ask. And at the end, I'll be giving away one copy of How to Get to the Top of Google. not this copy because I need it. Cool. So next up, we have content repurposing. So this costs you nothing. So you can write a piece of content for your website and then send it out there to be reused. There are varying levels of like success for this in terms of like the quality of the link that you get back. And the same for all of these I'm discussing today. Varying levels of weight. Like some of these will have, let's say we had a rating of 0 to 10 of how strong they are as a backlink to your website, and 0 being really weak and 10 being super strong. Some of these are only going to have a value of like 2 or 3. They're going to add more links to your website, but they're not going to be the strongest links ever. But some of them are more towards the 7, 8, or 9, or will do over the long term. So with content repurposing, it's kind of towards the like 2 to 3. It's not the strongest thing you can do, but if you were looking to have a dual purpose with your backlinks, it actually can be really good. So with this one, you can take a blog post that you've already written and add it onto a website like medium.com, which is like a blogging platform. You can syndicate it on there essentially, and then have it link back to your website. Now, the links from there are not super strong, but the audience is pretty decent, and then you can get referral traffic through there as well. So in terms of like link building value, not super strong, but in terms of audience building, pretty decent. Now, I've come up with a content resurrection. So it's not something I see talked about a lot, but it's something I like to play with from time to time. And I've got an example here. This was the first one I could find looking earlier, was basically websites and web pages like disappear all the time. So, websites get unpublished, people forget to what's the word? Pay for the domain to be revised, for a long period of time. And what happens is those websites disappear, those pages disappear. And this is an example from Wikipedia where somebody has linked to an article about whatever this Wikipedia page is about. And as soon as that page has disappeared, all of the links around the world, not just on Wikipedia, but every website linking there, links to nothing anymore. So that can be replaced, and that costs very little to do. So if you go to that website today, there's nothing there. But Wikipedia have this like robot that goes around and starts replacing links to the way and pointing it to the Wayback Machine instead. So the Wayback Machine, if you're not familiar, is it like records every website that it crawls, so you can go back in time and look at how Amazon looked in like 2010, or how Facebook looked 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the first day it was crawled. You could do something similar. So if you find broken links, you can use the Wayback Machine to see what that content looks like, and then you can replicate that content, do it better, and then find all of the links pointing to that and replace them. So Wikipedia links not super strong. They're just there. The value of that is not towards the tens. It's more towards like the middle and lower. But the other pages linking to that website, they definitely do, more likely going to have way more value, and you can just replace them with your content on your website instead. Very similar to broken link building, which are not included because it gets talked about already a lot. So another thing you could do is a curated swipe file. So this is more like in the sales and marketing, but it actually can be specific to industries as well. So if you're not familiar, a swipe file is basically your record of things you think are impressive in the advertising space and marketing space. So if I see an ad in a paper that I think is really impressive, take a photo of it and save it to my swipe file. Being a digital marketer, it's more likely going to be that it's a digital ad or a landing page that I see, or an email that I really like. I'll save that to a swipe file. You can do the same thing, but for your industry. So if you are working in the packaging industry or construction or something like that, you can do a swipe file for packaging marketing. So people have something they can link to and say, oh, if you do work in the packaging industry, here are some examples of things you can do, and you get some backlinks via that. So here are a couple of examples of like different swipe files you can do. So we've got an abandoned cart email examples. So if you work in e-commerce and you work for and you sell fitness products, you could do a fitness email e-commerce swipe file and get industry relevant links back to your website from other fitness e-coms. you could tell them about it and they say, oh yeah, that's fantastic. I'm going to link through to that from our website as well. And there's another one right here, which is, again, email examples. So again, if you are a marketer, you might link to this because you find it super useful. So you can make it industry specific, superb. Then we have one of the oldest things you could possibly build links with, and that's discounts and coupon codes. So as far back as the early stages of the internet, people have been using discount codes to build links, and the value of them has decreased over time, but they're still, they can still be useful. It just depends how you broadcast them, how you use them. Again, they can be kind of more towards like the bottom end of in terms of like weight, but in terms of like putting your brand out there and having more people clicking through to your website, building up a bit of brand awareness can be, pretty cheap to do. Then we have ebooks. Ebooks are fantastic. I mean, like, you can get an ebook of how to get to the top of Google by going to our website at the moment, or you can just use hashtag ask with any questions you have, and I will pick somebody at the end of the stream to win this lovely copy. And by the way, if you enjoyed what you've seen so far, just hit like down below. It really helps us to showcase this video to more people, and hit subscribe if you're on YouTube if you're not already. If you are already, you can share this video instead. That'd be really helpful. Anyway, ebooks. You can write an ebook, put it on your website, and promote it. So that takes you the time to write it. Very little money needs to be spent. You can do it in Canva. You can do it in Word. It doesn't really have to be that exotic looking. It just needs to be useful. So you write that and then you promote it. So this is an example from Intercom, who at the very early stages of their business used this growth handbook to build up awareness of their website. And it's been super useful for them. They've had hundreds and hundreds of websites linking to this over the years. So you could do something similar if you spot that there's an angle about your industry that's not been covered already. Next up, we've got event and conference recaps. So this is an example from the SEO industry. So DeepCrawl are an enterprise level SEO tool that basically help like really big e-commerce sites, stuff like that. They do recaps of industry events. So there's one called Brighton SEO, which is I think runs twice a year in non-pandemic years, and they write recaps from each day or different parts of the events. So I imagine there are probably conferences and events in your industry as well that you could do recaps of. So you could put together all of the presentations or slides or videos or tweets that are part of that day, put it in one blog post, and then share that with people and say, hey, if you want a recap of how that day went, this is what this is the best place to do it. And they've been doing this for a long time. It's been super useful for their growth, and actually people are really reliant on this for catching up on like presentations they want to see the slides of. Next up, we have Expert Roundup. So a friend of mine works Content King. They're a great SEO tool as well. They bring experts into their content. So you can do it in a roundup. So you can ask like 15 digital marketing experts how they think SEO will go in 2022 or industry specific. We asked 10 packaging marketing managers, packaging operations experts, COOs of packaging companies, how they think sustainability will be a part of their business in 2022, 2023, or something like that. Ask all of their opinions, put them all into a single blog post, publish that, email each of them and say, hey, would you mind linking to this from your website and promoting it on your social? It's super simple. It doesn't take a lot of effort to do. It happens way more in the digital marketing industry than it does in most other industries. So it's actually, I think, a bit of an opportunity there. Fake product PR. This is a good one I saw this week. I can't remember the name of the content marketer who did it, the digital PR person who did it. So well done to them. They created I believe it's a fake product because I don't think they're going to publish it just yet. I don't think they're going to do it. But you can basically create a fake product that people can't buy, but will drum up a bit of news interest. So in this case, Hillary's got that picked up, and a couple of publishers have started to pick up on it, and hopefully the ball will roll and they will get picked up by bigger newspapers like the Red Tops, who might find this interesting, especially right now. So you can create any kind of fake product that you have no intention of actually selling, but just creates a bit of buzz, gets people talking about your brand, whether it's funny or absurd or whatever. Guest posting. Guest posting is not expensive. It's free. So you can do it, just takes you the time to write and then the time to broadcast it. So you write for another publisher about your industry. So in this example, one of our content marketing specialists has written a piece alongside our client, Cloud Booking, and had them featured in this website. And then we can go and promote that, a link to this as well. And it really depends on the type of content that you write. So you can do like a thought piece, or you can do a statistic-based piece, or like a white paper or something like that. People will link to for a long time. So evergreen content, get that published on other people's website. It's a great thing. Don't just publish evergreen content on just your website. Get evergreen content published on other people's websites, because they will get linked to. That link association continues as well, all the way through to your website. Harrow and Muckrag. Now, Harrow, I believe, may have a free tier. Muckrag, I'm not entirely sure. But again, it's not expensive to do this, as far as I recall. And this is similar to journal requests that journalists say, I'm looking to speak to somebody about X subject by the end of the day, by the end of the week. And then you just say, yep, I know everything about that. I'll talk to you about it. Quick phone call or quick email, respond, they publish it, your brand gets mentioned, you get a link. That's it. Super simple. How am I doing for time? 32 minutes in, I've still got loads to do. Come on. Right, so this is a helper reporter out. This is Harrow and Muckrag. That's what they look like. Then we have image or photo library. Not expensive to do. Grab a camera, take a load of photos of what it is that you sell, products. This is more for like e-coms rather than service-based pages. But just take a load of photos of what you do. Unsplash did this, and this is how they offer photos for free. You can download to use in your content. They started their business in the same way. They had a bunch of like photos left over that they didn't need, so they offered them for free to people, and people started to use them. And the only thing that they had to do was link back in return. So if you the caveat above this will be, if you use this photo, can you link back to us? I've seen this in the vaping space as well. So this company did it for like CBD and vaping. They took a whole bunch of like product photos and said, do you know what? You can use this for free. Just link back to this website. That's all we ask. Not like the strongest links you can earn, but consistent links for very little time, money, resources at all. Then we've got industry history. So I've seen this popping up a bit more. So this one's for the SEO industry. So somebody's written about like how SEO got started or what's happened in the last 20 years in this example. You could do the same thing for industry, and I've seen it done for packaging as well. So this website has done it about the history of packaging, and they tried to make it make maybe not an exciting subject exciting visually, and then you can go through and watch the video, get the stories. There's like a PDF behind that as well. So again, just takes you a bit of time to write. It doesn't have to look as great as this unless you have the skills to do so, which again might not cost you any money if you can do it for yourself. Then there's infographics. So these don't cost much money either. I mean, you can use a professional. So in this instance, this Cloud Booking infographic has been done by our design team. We've got some more examples here as well. Oh, I've gone backwards. So this is one for another company, client of ours called Mint Formations, who do company registration. They're superb. And this was done by our graphics team. And then what the principle is here is that you publish something that looks fantastic and is resourceful, useful to somebody else will link to it as well. You can do a bit of like broadcasting, you can promote it by emailing people saying, hey, would you mind if we added this infographic into your blog post, or we can write a blog post for you and include the infographic within it. Or you can just have it on your website connected to statistics or something that people are searching for. So for in this example, it may be business growth statistics is the search that people do in Google, brings you through to the website, has the statistics in there, but then it has this great infographic, and then people will link to it. I know as a digital marketer, I'm forever linking, using infographics in my blog posts, because I know that's what people actually enjoy and keep people reading. So again, text, boring, text, video, text, image, text, infographic, break it up. This is the kind of stuff you want. This is what other content writers are looking for. Have it on your website. Interactive assets. Now, interactive assets are normally quite expensive, but they can be done fairly cheaply or for free, depending on your skills. So in this instance, this was created by a friend of mine who. This was not inexpensive for them, but they found a way to make it as cheap as possible by doing having a partnership with another company. So they you use that technology and you do the content side and you both share it or something like that. You can create something that's interactive. Maybe bring a friend or an uncle or an aunt who knows how to code. They can create something that people can play around with. In this instance, you could see like 24 hours of London and scroll in like super high definition. Like you could basically go onto this and you scroll really, really far. You could see that people walking around. It's a fantastic asset. And it's still going around today. They're still building links. And that's the thing. Once you build something like this, regardless of how much it costs, you can then building links back to it costs you nothing. You just got to tell people it's there. And you can earn links naturally. It's just about getting that ball rolling. Interviews as well, a very inexpensive way of building links. You just got to speak to the publishers that do interviews. So if you see interviews appearing in your stream, like if you're on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, you see somebody else is getting published or an interview, it doesn't even have to be in the same industry as you. Contact that same publisher and say, hey, I'd love to do an interview with you as well. Cool. Local events. This is one we've done a bunch of times, obviously less so in recent years because of this one we did with a client, which was a hotel. Basically, we invited a bunch of bloggers and did a partnership with Lush as well. So brought Lush in and said, hey, bloggers, hey, Lush, come in, do an event. You can use our space for free. And then all of those bloggers, all they had to do in return for attending for free was just to mention our client's hotel on their website. And that helps to build up a bit of traction for link building. Local press is always looking for something to fill up the gaps in their content calendar. This is not an exciting story. Accountancy firm finds silver lining in taxing year. All they're saying is that they've continued to have growth. That's it. There's nothing more to this. They've just called in a favor and said, I'd like to be mentioned on your website if that's all right. It costs next to nothing. Maybe there's a fee behind it. It's the time. It's more likely going to cost you a time to build up a rapport with the reporter, and you just go back and forth. It might not be immediate, but you can get published locally. Newsjacking. So I was going to grab an example for this. I wasn't able to grab it in time, but this is basically similar to journal requests. You follow the news and see, this reporter has just published something about something that's happened in the news today. I can't think of what's happening in the news today. Something COVID related. I'm not sure. But basically, you speak to that reporter and say, hey, I've got an angle to add to that story. I've got somebody who could be quoted about that. I can give you a very specific quote about what's happening right now. And then just if the reporter is okay with the quote, they can just add you in or add your business in and just link back to your website. So just means you have to stay on the ball and see what's being published by people in your industry or by the red tops or what have you. But it's not difficult to do. It's just, it takes a little bit of time and it's free. Newsletter. So if you write a strong newsletter for your industry, this is an SEO example because it's the first one that came to mind. This is one by an SEO consultant called Marie Haynes. I've followed for years. If you write a newsletter that's really, really, really good, more people are going to want to share it and link to it. So you have, a page on your website that people can sign up for it or they can read the latest edition. Then you just go out there and tell people about it and people will link back to it from their industry websites or wherever, or even personal blogs. And that can be very cheap to do too. Cool. Podcast. We're getting there. I want to make sure we've got time for questions. If you've learned something so far, please do hit like wherever you're watching us. If it's on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitter even. I'd really appreciate it. It lets me know that this is what you're enjoying and lets me know that I can, should do more of these for next time. Also helps us to reach more business. And if you are new here, whichever platform you're watching on, hit subscribe, like, follow, whichever it is. It really helps us to, it'll tell you about the next live stream that comes up, which is next Friday. So podcast. Do a podcast. Everybody's doing a podcast. Tim does a podcast. So our founder, Tim Cameron Kitchen, he's been doing podcasts since maybe 5 years now. Then they're not expensive. You just need a phone nowadays, and Anchor is an app you could download, which basically help you to just record podcasts directly and publish them all within one app. So you could do something like that for your industry and just promote it. This is the free part. It's inexpensive to do, if not free, and then you can promote it. The promotion is where you get backlinks for free. You can do pro bono work as well. So in this instance, we did pro bono work. We did a free website for Black History Walks, which is based in London. You can do the same thing for your industry. So you don't have to do a lot. I mean, obviously, the more you can do, the better. But you can do some pro bono work and then use that as an opportunity to promote your business and reach more people. So in this instance, we haven't really broadcast this because it was more important for us to help this business out. But you can then use that as an opportunity to say, get published in local press or industry press and say, this is the work that we've accomplished this year and we're really proud of it. So in this instance, we are really proud of this work too. So you can do the same for your industry. There's always some pro bono work that can be done. It doesn't matter what it is that you do. There's always a charity you can help. Then there's product outreach. So you can send your product to people and say, hey, would you mind reviewing this and linking back to the website after you've done so? And you can do this with bloggers, you can do this with bigger publishers as well. There are The Independent does loads of these gift guides, stuff like that. You can send products to the people doing gift guides in advance of like Christmas, a couple of months in advance, and get them like on board with the idea like, this product is great, I love it. And then they'll include you in their piece when it comes to Christmas or Mother's Day gift guide, stuff like that. Just send something a little bit in advance, and cost you the cost of the product, but in terms of like the link itself, doesn't cost you anything. Just working with publishers, working with the right publishers in your industry as well. So this one's the Negotiator, which is for estate agents. Just connect with the publisher and see what it is that they need. Ask them like what kind of content their audience likes, and then help them craft something. You can either do a partnership and write it together, or you can write a piece for them. You might not even do a blog post or some news or something like that. You could co-partner with them and do a webinar, for example, or you could do a white paper together or something like that, or a study, statistics. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but finding the right publisher for you, making sure it's as specific to your industry as possible, will help you to earn links. And again, the links cost nothing. And if you're creating content together, that rarely costs that much to do either. You can become a regular contributor. So Stuart Hearn is the founder and CEO of Clear Review, which is one of our clients. They do HTML software. They're absolutely superb, fantastic people. Stuart's been a regular contributor on several platforms for years, and we've helped to be a part of that. And Stuart and his team are doing fantastic things. So you can do the same thing for you. There's always going to be a space in which you can write. Doesn't matter how boring you think your industry is. I've spoken a lot today about packaging. Packaging, I'm sure many of you don't think is particularly exotic, but people want to read about it. People want to know. So, other people in the packaging industry find it interesting, or maybe people further afield will too. So you can be the person writing that content. And again, that just could cost you time. The actual finances can be really, really, if not nothing, or maybe very low. Like you might have to pay a contributing fee. I doubt that. But it really depends on the partnership you create together. Retailer links. So you can speak to the retailers of your product if you're an e-com or if you're not D2C. Depends on what kind of setup you have for your business. You can reach out to those companies that you supply to and ask them to link back to your website or something like that. Doesn't this bike company do it for all of their brands as well? So you could, if some of the retailers you work with don't do it already, you can help them along and say, hey, I've even put some of the work together. I've put the links together with a whole bunch of image logos as well. All you have to do is upload them and there you go. So again, it doesn't cost you very much to do at all. I need a drink. Oh, excuse me. Right, 45 minutes in, 15 minutes. We're almost at the end. I've got time for questions. I'm trying to race through. And don't forget, if you do have a question, you just need to use the hashtag ask, and I'll pick somebody out at the end to win a free copy of How to Get to the Top of Google. Cool. So reverse image search. Reverse image search is kind of similar to the photo imaging I was talking about before, where you have a bunch of images on your website. And then, let's see if I can make this bigger. A bunch of images on your website, and you say, oh, you can use this image, just make sure you link back to us. This is kind of similar to that in that if you know that there are images on your website that people are using without really asking you. So this is, more likely to be the case if it's a very niche industry you work in, or if you have a very popular product. You can then do a reverse image search and look for where those images are being used on other websites, and then say, hey, please link back to our website, or you'll have to take the image down as well. It's only fair that they link back to you. So you can do something like a reverse image search on your most popular images. Next up, we have Skyscraper Content. So this is one of my faves. This is basically going out there and creating the best content possible so that people want to link to it. So Skyscraper Method is basically, you take all of the best pieces in the search results and then pile them on top of each other and make the longest piece of, well, not necessarily the longest, but the best piece of content, because there's no point being the longest if it's rubbish. So do Skyscraper that content, just make it the best for, in this case, I was looking for what is EAT. So I'd recommend going and reading that article if you don't know what EAT is. But yeah, I went and had a look and see what other people were talking about, and tried to make sure that I was covering that, but also building on it and being more, more helpful. And then that should earn links naturally. You can go and tell, the best thing to do is to go and tell other publishers, hey, I've written this piece. Would you mind linking to it? Because I think it'll be useful. But yeah, naturally, if that piece, as it goes up the search results and it hits the top, it should earn links more naturally, because when people are doing their research and they're like, oh, I need to link to something about EAT, they'll go to Google and they'll see, I can just link to this piece because it's at the top. So you can earn links naturally that way. Right. Social media templates. Now, obviously, this is more specific to digital marketing agencies like ours, or if you're a consultant, so you can do like templates, but not necessarily the case. So in this case, Hootsuite, which do social media software, they do like scheduling software. They noticed that this is what their audience needed, or some of their audience needed at the very beginning of their buying journey. Like people who are just getting into social media need templates because they're still getting to grips with like what people like, or they just don't have the time to do it. You can do the same thing for your industry. So if you're a fitness, you can do social media fitness templates for fitness influencers to use. So for example, you can create a page on your website full of like templates that you created in Canva, and you link to those that people can just copy, but make them specific to your industry rather than like just broad social media templates. So again, this takes you a bit of time in Canva to do, but just look and see what kind of templates your audience would like to be able to use that they would find useful. And again, you might need to do more broadcasting for that, like more promotion of that, and earning those, requesting those links. Yeah, it's an inexpensive thing to do. Public speaking. Tim does this a lot. So you might, if you came to this, wherever you're watching from, if you came to No Exposure Ninja, it's more likely going to be through either our book, our podcast, our videos like today, or from Tim's public speaking. Every conference is always looking for a speaker. There are conferences popping up all the time, both in person and online, increasingly now as well. They need to fill those gaps. If you know a lot about your industry, especially if you've been in your industry for a while, even if you've been in industry for a while, you're moving to a new company or creating your own new company, you know a lot and you can help other people and speak about it. So you could either speak personally and just be the one person that speaks about it, or you can join a fireside chat or like a panel, something like that. And always these websites link back to, almost always, if they don't, just make sure they do, but they almost always link back to the website of the business you're speaking from. Statistics. I think this is the same for pretty much any company writing. for example, like Mint Formations, which is one of our clients, they write about business formations. They include statistics within their content as well, because they're talking about business growth and showing how successful new businesses are becoming, how many businesses are registered each year. There are lots of different things you could talk about. Your industry will have statistics that people want to know about or want to link to. You can either get it from your own customer information, do surveys, something like that, and publish it on your website. Make sure it's updated every year, because people are always looking for the most recent statistics. So for myself as a digital marketer, I might want to look at email open rates per industry 2021. So I want to know how many emails are opened out of every 100 or whatever, but specific to this year, because there's no use to me knowing last year's information. So you just make sure that's updated every year. And again, go out there, broadcast this to people, email them. Oh, would you mind linking back to our piece? That costs nothing at all. The research costs very little, mostly time rather than money. You might want to pay for surveys to go out there, but if you've got people you can survey directly. So for example, I send out surveys sometimes to our email mailing list. That's several thousand people. It's cheaper than my having to pay for a survey for YouGov or somebody, a company like that. Then we have supplier links. So similar to retailer links, this is supplier links. So I don't want to say the football club that this is from, because I can't stand them, but they do this at least. They list all of their stadium suppliers on their website. So you can do the same kind of thing. You could speak to, it goes both ways. There's somebody who supplies you, and there's somebody you supply most of the time, not always. If you're D2C, maybe not, but you can ask both ways. Ask the people who supply you, could you link through to the website, and say, we supply this company, and then you email the person you supply, whether it's a retailer or whoever, and say, could you link through to our website? So you can build both links both ways. It costs very little as well. And for the most part, you're probably supplying to similar industry. So you have industry-specific links going through to your website too. Templated docs and spreadsheets. This was fantastic for FreshBooks. So FreshBooks, they do invoicing system. It's all like accounting, stuff like that. They sell invoicing software that you can use, but they also know that people who aren't yet ready to pay or can't yet afford to pay will use free templates. So what they did is they just made those free templates available to find on the internet, and they still rank for invoice template, like that header term of like invoice template, not even free invoice template, the invoice template. So people come through to the website, might download the template and use it and never come back again. But a lot of people will know about FreshBooks now and may even consider trying the software, since it's create my free invoice. That button on the left there, I don't know if you can see it. Let me just blow this up a little bit. Here. So yeah, it says create my free invoice. So people might go, oh, I'm not going to use the free invoice template. I don't want to download that because that looks really average. So I'm going to create this really exciting, colorful one instead and just try the software straight away. So it's really simple to create docs and spreadsheets, which are used regularly in your space. For them, it was invoicing. For you, it might be something else entirely. But you just publish those on your website and make sure that people know about them. So you go out there, tell people, hey, we created these. Would you mind linking to them? And they, over time, may start to earn evergreen links as well. So you start to rank for free, I don't know, let's just stick with this for time's sake, free invoice templates or invoice templates. You'll rank there at the top there, and and so on. Move on. So we get time for a question. Tools. An SEO example, because I know a lot about SEO. So another agency created a whole bunch of free to use tools and just put them out there for the internet to use. And I've been using those for like 5 years at least. I would say 5 years plus. You can do the same thing for you. So in the previous example, FreshBooks could give their invoicing template tool away for free, let people use it for free for the first 3 invoices and then make them pay after the first 3. As an example, your industry might have something similar, like a tool. It could even be like a calculator of like how to calculate I'm trying to think of something, how to calculate how many rollers you will need when putting together like a new factory delivery system, for example, like how many different parts you will need per square foot or what have you. You could do something like that within your industry. Offer training, like free training content on your website. Is similar to the next one as well, really, that you can offer like tutorials as well. So like just make content that would be useful for people, put it onto your website. It doesn't cost much to put together. Like, you can write stuff in the time you would normally write, blog content for your website. So let's say you publish one blog post on your website a week, scrap that for 2 months, just write content for a training guide, publish that instead, and make that like a similar to a content hub, something that people can use as actionable, put that on your website instead, and tell people about it. This is the free part. It costs very little to write, but the free part is going out there and telling people, hey, what do you think about this? Do you like it? If so, would you mind linking back to our website? So the same with tutorials. HubSpot have a lot of training guides. They occasionally have tutorials in there as well. And this one is about how to create a data studio report. It's not as tutorially as I would have liked, but it was the best example I could find. Well, the first example I could find in the time they had. Then there's a university alumni pages. So you can go through back to your university and say, hey, here's what I'm doing now. So would you like to mention me and see how fantastically I'm doing because I came to your university? Now, in this example, this came, it's not from an alumni page, but was Exposure Ninja did some work with Nottingham Trent University to send some of our team through a Women in Leadership course, and we've had 13 people go through it. It's been a fantastic success, and the response from it has been great. And we spoke with their team and said, hey, would you like, basically we can tell you about our experience. It helps them to have something to promote to people and say, hey, your business should be doing this course too. Here's what another company had to say about it. And then, both sides, we get to promote it, they get to promote it, and more businesses are interested in the courses that they're trying to offer. So you could maybe do something similar. You can speak to your university and say, hey, here's where I am now. Update your alumni page with me at X company. And that's it. We're up to questions and answers. So if you do want to win a copy of How to Get to the Top of Google, I'll send you a paperback, unless you want to eat PDF, it's up to you. But just use the hashtag Ask Me a Question, and I will pick somebody out at the end. So yeah, there's a bunch of questions already come through. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a second because I just raced through those things. I need to just breathe and have a drink. And whilst I do that, hit like down below, hit subscribe, hit follow, and share, because that's what friends do to each other. They share things they like. Right. First one, Deepesh asks, how effective are link building companies that promise so many links for a set price? Don't buy links at a set price. So we do have a blog post on our website called Should You Buy Backlinks? This is a tricky subject because you shouldn't buy backlinks, like websites like Fiverr, places like that. The kind of quality of backlink you're going to get is going to be really low. However, there is a financial side to link building. You shouldn't really buy backlinks, but you may have to compensate companies in order to publish content on their website. So it's a bit different. Like you might have to pay like an independent to appear on a website, so to be linked on a website. But yeah, you shouldn't really have to pay a certain amount of money. It depends on the relationship. But how effective are these link building companies? In my experience, I did a test last year and the results were bad. Like I spent £500 doing a test on a website, and the return for that website was just, you could barely tell that the links were there at all. Does domain authority make a big difference on the linking website? You mean like the one? Well, yeah. I mean, domain authority is a third-party measure of the value of a website. So a whole bunch of tools, everyone does it, like Majestic and Moz and SEMrush. Everybody has a score. Ahrefs as well. They all score websites from a value of 0 to 100, and they think, in their opinion, it's worth 50 out of 100 or 60 out of 100. That if you are going to track websites on that value has nothing to do with the way that Google values websites, and isn't even close to how they value websites. But if you want like an indication of how strong a website might be, then yeah, it needs to be higher. It needs to be higher than it is lower. But every link profile, so how all of the links that point back to your website, it should be diverse. It should never just be just 50, 50, 50, 50 out of 100, 50 out of 100. It needs to be mixed because no website has consistently top-notch linking all the time. Like even like big websites like Airbnb will get like 4 out of 100, DA4 websites linking to them. It's not, it shouldn't be like perfect. How do we select which blogger to approach? Do we base it on the quality of the website, i.e. domain authority? I tend to prefer to choose a website based on the quality of the website rather than the domain authority. Domain authority can play a part, and it's always good as like an indicator, as like a backup check. But I find it's better to go with website quality. Now, if a website doesn't look good, it doesn't feel right, it looks like it's full of spammy links and like it looks like it's just paid for content, it's best to avoid it and we go with something else. It's better to consider things this way. Does that website look like it should rank well for the search queries that you were going to post content for? So if you don't think that Google would respect that website and rank it well, Google probably aren't going to care about it and you should move on to the next website. Deepesh again, is domain authority accurate? No, because no company has the same computing power as Google does, for a start. And second of all, nobody knows how any of the algorithms within the algorithm work truly. So no, it's not completely accurate. Speeder asks, what's the image sharing platform where people take an image from and give you a backlink in return? So in the case there before, people were just doing it on their own website. So in that case, it was a vaping e-commerce store. They hosted a whole bunch of images on their own website and have people come through there and link back. You could do it other ways. You could add your images onto Upsplash or Pexels or Flickr or something like that, but it kind of defeats the object to get links back to your website. Terry, what would be your top 3 relatively easy for the technically inept backlink ideas that carry a higher weighting? Ooh, well, there's a lot of ideas in there. Top 3. Anything where it comes to relatable content. So basically guest publishing, guest posting, anything similar to that really. Because you want to be appearing where your audience, where your target audience is going to be. So if you're in the HR space and you know that your audience is always reading HR industry magazines, that's the place where I would want to be appearing, not on a completely just whatever blogger or whatever publisher. It has to be specific. What's the best way if you want to build backlinks for specific keywords? I mean, that's a deep question. It really depends on the keywords. Are there benefits of having no follow links to your site? Yeah, in the same way that you shouldn't have just only amazing backlinks coming to your website. I mean, like obviously that would be the best, but it has to be diverse. Like most websites don't have only follow links going to their website. But I don't think you necessarily have to specifically request no follow. Just let things take their course. Like a lot of websites will just no follow links anyway. When is your mentoring program starting? Great question. So yeah, we are doing a mentoring program for aspiring digital marketers. So that's for people who are in the first kind of early years of their digital marketing career. We're just accepting applications now. We're going to decide in the next few weeks who we're able to take on because we have a limited number of mentors available. That should start in the next couple of weeks. Can we talk about Google stacking? Does that help? Do you know what? I'm not really sure what Google stacking is, and I've been in SEO for forever. Maybe that's something new that I'm not sure about yet. Is it considered duplicate content if you publish an article from your blog onto another publication? Is it syndication? So It is. It's not. Google can tell the difference between different types of content, the same content appearing in different websites, and they can do it in a number of different ways. And the typical one is that they will determine which is the original based on the first one it crawled. But it basically will know. The algorithm is so diversely complicated now that it can figure out which is the original. But yeah, if it determines that it's not duplicate, but like syndicated, it can tell it's syndicated, it will put less value into that piece. So there is some value, it just much less than the original piece. And then the second benefit, as we talked about earlier, was that you're getting in front of the right people who might then link back to you in a different way, or just come through to your website and get to know you. Just to see if there are any more questions. Right, so somebody said, how many backlink from one domain is enough? It doesn't really matter. I mean, one, you need at least one. If you have 5, great. If you have 50, great. It doesn't really matter. What's important is that it's contextually relevant, that it's for a website that, people care about, more importantly, but also that Google care about too. Somebody's saying that 500 backlinks for £5. First of all, nothing good is truly cheap. Second, of those 500, I doubt any of them are actually worth more than, even one of them is worth more than $5. And the third thing would be that I expect that most of those backlinks, if they're created, would just disappear by the end of the day anyway. So they'd wait long enough for you to see it on the tracker, and then they just make those disappear. Cool. John, you didn't hashtag it ask. Oh, you've done it afterwards, but you said, do links placed in social comments work? In terms of like link building, no, because Google is not really counting those kind of links. If there is any link weight in there, like link value, it's going to be like a micro, like 0.01%, in my opinion. However, I do believe, and I have no evidence to back this up, but they use it for link discovery. So they will just go through social, and they'll pick up on new links that way, and they'll find out about pages that way, because sometimes they don't find it from crawling the web, crawling other websites linking to it. They want to crawl social too and see, oh, this piece of content is getting traction on social. We should know about it because it might be news relevant. It might be timely relevant as well. Okay, I need to close up here. I'm going to pick a winner of our book, but there is just one question here. We've got, not a digital marketer, but what are the 3 most important things I can do to get to the top of Google? Okay, first of all, make your website optimized for SEO. A website's not optimized for SEO. Like, optimize, 1, for crawling, 2 is like rich in terms of content, is not going to rank at the top of Google. 2, you need links. You need great quality content, and Google can rank a page or website based on just the quality of the content alone. But links are still one of the biggest things. No matter how much they change your algorithm, you still need those links, those voices of confidence, those votes of confidence. Questions keep going through. Okay, a couple more questions, and then I'll close up and choose a winner. Is it okay SEO-wise to place several links on the same website, so articles that link to your website? If yes, do they need to be placed several days, months apart, or time doesn't matter? Time doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Google doesn't. First of all, Google doesn't crawl every website every single day, so it will periodically crawl certain pages, monthly, quarterly. So if you have a link added to a page that only gets crawled by Google once every 6 months, it's not going to know about it for 6 months. So you're going to see no value from doing so. I wouldn't worry so much about time in terms of like link building. I would be more concerned with earning the right quality link, like good quality links. Don't worry about like the timeliness of it. How long does linking take to strengthen SEO? How long is a piece of string? It depends. The old SEO thing of it depends. I've seen links help move a website really quickly in like days and weeks, and I've seen it take months and months. So the best thing to do is just to focus on doing the right thing rather than trying to do the fastest thing. Cool. think I've got it. No, there's one more question. Okay. When I do keyword research on Ahrefs, we'll have blogs from top companies in the backlink section of the table that shows only 10 to 15. I don't really understand the question, I'm afraid. I don't really know about Ahrefs. It's not the tool that I use the most. How many links should you build when starting a new website? The website is just creating. You have like 20. Again, it's about getting the right quality link. Like, I can't tell you that 5 links is going to trigger a ranking increase, or 10 links. Obviously, the more links, the better. But yeah, the right thing to do is to make sure your website is optimized and get the right quality links, like things that are industry specific. So you've got a whole bunch of ideas in here. The best thing to do is to go through and just decide which ones you think suit your business, and then go from there. Let's make this the last question. So, does outbound linking help SEO? Yes, absolutely. 100%. You should always be linking out to stuff, not just for the sake of linking. You've got to link to relevant stuff, and it can't be anything. It has to be relevant to the content you're writing. So if you're writing about takeaway packaging and you link to something about African safaris, the two things do not connect, and Google will see that, and they'll be like, I don't understand what this is. I don't see the reference. So the best thing to do is just keep things contextually relevant and link in out that way. But yeah, really important. Like, if imagine how bad the internet would be if no websites ever linked out to anything else. Like, it would be unusable. So yeah, you need to have it in there, but it does help Google to understand what it is you're trying to tell them. Like, the algorithm is smarter and smarter, and it can scan a piece of content and figure out what it's about, but it will have a greater understanding of what it's about if you link to something else that's related. Like, if I show you all of our books, if I don't have all the books in front of me, but if I show you this book and then our social media book and then our how to get customers on the internet book, you can see that they're all related. So Google could see the books and say, hey, these books are about digital marketing. So it's about helping them understand the greater context of your content. Cool. And of course, I have forgotten to open up the giveaway thing. So let's just do that now. StreamYard. Cool, giveaway. I'll remove that and bring, oh, hello me. Cool. Let's choose this. So here's your last chance. You just got to use hashtag ask, and I will pick somebody now. Okay. Let's add this to the stream. Here we go. Oops. Add to the stream. Question: how do I know so much? I've been doing SEO, either writing or like I was head of SEO for Exposure Ninja for a while. Oh, Droid Logic, fantastic. Droid Logic. What you need to do is to get in touch with me at dale@exposureninja.com and with your address, and I will send you a copy of the book. So that's dale@exposureninja.com. To answer that last question, how do I know so much? Yeah, I've been doing SEO for quite a long time. I started off as content writer, then I was head of SEO Exposure Ninja, and I just stay on top of things because it's a constantly evolving industry. So you really do have to like keep your ear pressed to the ground and learn what's changing. I mean, like in the last 30-ish days, 35 days, we've had 2 algorithm updates that Google has dropped. So yeah, it helps to just keep on with SEO, like keep listening. Be on Twitter. It's one of the best places you could possibly be to learn about what SEO is, how it's changing. And there are a lot of people you could that I'd recommend that you go and follow, but I don't have the time to do so now. If you do want to know more about, let me just change this up and I'll I'll just share this. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Dale Davis _me. If you have any questions about like SEO, or you want to know like people to follow, just message me on there, and I'll tell you about as many fantastic people as I know. And there are lots of them. So yeah, that's it for today. Thanks very much for coming along. If you do want a a review of your website, just go to exposureninja.com/review and we'll review your website and your business's marketing. Yeah, just go fill out the form on that page, and yeah, if we can help you, we definitely will try and do so. And that's it for me. I'll see you next Friday. We'll be doing live website reviews. So enjoy your weekend. Take care, everyone.